Heading across to Australia is something we'd love to be able to do one day. We've briefly discussed it in the past and that sort of thing. There's a lot of costs associated to get across there, and if we take our own car over or try and find something over there to run, we've got a great bunch of sponsors here who really support us. Vernon Vasey Truck Parts and NZ Total Hose and Fitting Service are our main sponsors, and Vertex Lubricants there as well. And so it's just a matter of trying to sort something out, maybe look a bit seriously at trying to head over there next season. A lot of great drivers over there. A few guys go across to America and race, but Australia's right across the ditch, and they've got a lot of competitive guys over there, so it'd be great to run over there at some stage. To beat the best, you've got to run with the best, so it's certainly something we want to do in future. We've heard a lot of great things about the World Sprint Car Classic over in Warrnambool Speedway, so that's obviously a meeting we'd love to attend if we got the opportunity to go and run in Australia. So firstly, we obviously appreciate that you consider us one of the guys and teams to keep an eye on. Apart from ourselves, we've got Jonathan Allard, who comes down from America to run our seasons. Obviously, the three Jamies, Jamie McDonald, Jamie Larson and Jamie Duff. We've got Dean Brindle, luckily there's not three of them. Michael Pickens as well, is really coming to grips with sprint cars very quick, so on any given night there's several cars who can take the win. At Western Springs this year we're down on numbers, but the cars that we've got are very, very fast cars, and we're looking forward to the international series. We've got, I believe, another American coming down and a couple of Australians. So it's probably a first in a while to have some Australians coming down. I've never raced against them before, but looking forward to that. So yeah, there's on any given night there's certainly half a dozen cars who can take the win. So that's quite an interesting question. The yellow car did stand out quite a bit with NZ coming on board, and we've had Vernon Vasey since the beginning. They've been with us for a long time. The colours are obviously white, black and red, and so we come up with the colour scheme we've got now. I think it stands out great, and at the time there wasn't really any white and black colour scheme cars, and it seems we did that, and there was a few others that went there as well, so there's quite a few similar looking cars out there, but the yellow car certainly stood out, but we really like the new colour scheme on the car at the moment, and the graphics and all that, and believe it looks pretty good. And just something we actually prepared earlier for you, seeing as you like the yellow car scheme. We've got a part of the wing here. So our crew's made up of quite a few people. We've got Dad, crew chief, who obviously discusses the setup with me and keeps an eye on everything, that that the right bars and shocks and everything are in the car, and overlooks what the other guys are doing. Got Greg Halua, who we've known from karting for many years. He does the bar changes, the shock changes, all that sort of stuff. If we're in a crash, he's amongst the team who gets the parts changed, along with Aaron Hobbs, who's also we've known from karting. He's responsible for making sure the tyres are at pressure, doing the fuel, that sort of stuff, and during the week, of course, on crew nights, he's mounting up tyres, making sure they're coming up to the right sizes, all that sort of stuff, getting the stagger combinations for the meeting. So there's quite a lot involved. We've got Bryce McCowan, who built up a midget with Dad many years ago. He used to race, and so did Dad. We've got Peter Wrightson, who pushes us out on the bike, checks we're locked in and in gear, and they all help clean the car during the night and do the setups, and if anything happens, if we happen to be in a crash, just keeping an eye on things, getting a spare front end out, helping put it in, that sort of stuff. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, many hours. It's not just me driving it. There's a whole crew behind us just to get us to the track and on the track and help out during the night. So I'm just one small part of it. There's probably a combined, I'd say 50 to 100 hours that go into these cars every week. During the off season, it's not really off season. We're busy stripping down the cars, maintaining things, re-greasing bearings, new bearings, all that sort of stuff. The engine's getting stripped down, it's getting rebuilt. We're sanding down panels, we're getting them painted. There's really a lot behind the things there. You don't have a lot of room left for much personal life. Sarah, my wife, is very forgiving in that way, so she comes along and watches. She doesn't get involved in helping too much, but she enjoys watching. I think it scares her at times, but she's happy. She's hangs out with the wives and girlfriends of the other drivers, so she certainly enjoys herself as well.
My name's Michael, I'm Daniel's dad. On race night, well, I'm the oldest, so I'm probably the designated crew chief, unless the others want to be. So basically I just run around and keep an eye on the other guys and try and make sure they do all the grubby, hard jobs, and I run around in the background looking busy. Mainly what we do is talk with Daniel, have a look at the track, and play the big guessing game that everybody plays up there of where the track's heading and what to do with the car, which is the major part up there. When we get it right, the car's very quick, and when it's wrong, you see it on the track. But like I say, it is a guessing game. You're trying to judge what the track's going to do. Generally through the night, I sit there and talk or argue with Daniel. And generally between us we come up with something that seems to work, and obviously the other guys, they all have an input into it as well. Some of the changes we make on a car, probably the most common one is the offsets of wheels. Would you move the right, how far you move the right out, and the left you don't tend to move very much, but we do play with that a bit as well. Tyre pressures, again, one of the things that affects the car greatly. Also, Greg on the team, he sort of is in charge of setting the bleed offs to keep the tyre, try and keep the tyre pressures fairly stable. We don't tend to do a lot with on the night with gearing. We may, if a track changes considerably, we may look at doing a bar change, but generally most of the changes are done with the offsets and tyre stagger, of course, which is one of the main ones. And shock adjustments, which is another more and more important sort of adjustment you've got nowadays. The other thing I work with Daniel with is while he's sitting on the grid waiting to go out on the track, obviously he's on the other side of a fence in the car and can't see what's happening, and the track does change quite quickly. We'll go and I'll pop up and have a bit of a look and see where guys are running and where they're finding the drive, whether it's on the pole or whether it's out a bit, or where the holes are or what holes are developing. So then I'll go back and talk to Daniel because he's getting a bit nervous and a bit panicky, wants to know what's going on out there. So I'll have a little bit of a chat about that, and then he probably goes out and doesn't listen anyway. But anyway, it's something we we try to work on as well.
So as far as spare equipment goes and parts go, to the track we obviously take the main car. We have 2 spare top wings, we have 3 front wings in the truck. We carry a toolbox full of different spaces and things like that we use on the rear, and Jacob's ladders and those sorts of spares. We carry different bars and different shocks, different rates and different rebound and compressions that we can change during the night, as well as that we do have spares in case we crash. We've got a complete spare front end in our toolbox that we wheel out with us. We've also got another complete front end sitting up in the truck. We have a spare diff sitting up in the truck if anything goes wrong. We have our wheel rack, which we carry 3 to 4 right rear wheels on and 3 to 4 left rears. Really, we've got all the spares we need if we hit a major crash to get the car back on track. Where we run into issues there is whether we have chassis damage. That's very hard to fix on the night. At home, we have a spare car. If something does happen, we have a spare car and motor to get us back up and running. Should something happen, touch wood, it doesn't. We've also got other spares at home. We've got a spare chassis that we ran last season and panels and all that sort of stuff. So we've built up a lot of gear. We've been running for 7 years now, so we've got a lot of gear. We've got a lot of sponsors behind us, and we need to make sure that we're on track and out there at every event. We can't afford to miss around. So the process for deciding on setup changes between races comes down a lot between myself and Dad. Dad's got a lot of experience and he's raced midgets for many years, many moons ago. So it sort of comes down to getting a base setup that we both think will work, and then Dad obviously relies on feedback from me coming in from the races, and also we're looking at what the track's doing. Part of Speedway, which is quite hard coming from karting, is you used to get in and get involved in the setup and making all the changes on the car itself. This is a different ball game where the crew's got their job to do and I've got my job to do, and that's to keep an eye on what the track's doing and concentrate on what the car's doing, so that when I come in I can let them know what the car's doing and what changes we think we want to make. I have faith that Dad puts a good setup beneath me, and usually we get it pretty good. There's very few times now where it goes wrong, and it's coming down to fine tuning. We can get the setup close, but with the guys out there now and the competitive cars and that sort of thing, it's not about getting it close, it's about getting it perfect and spot on, and that's what we're trying to do, and it's very hard. Even though we've been running for, I think this is our 7th season now, we've probably done an equivalent of 1 to 2 American seasons. We do about 25 shows a year, so it's hard for us. There's a lot of guys out there with more experience, but we're keeping up with them. Sometimes we're beating them, sometimes we're not, and so I'm still improving. I don't think we ever stop improving or learning, and so it's a hard game, and it takes a lot of confidence to try and win and beat these guys. It's a big head game. Sometimes we can go out there and not go so well, and on a yellow I think to myself, what are you doing? Just get up it and you go from there. So confidence plays a huge part in your head. If you're not comfortable in the car and you don't think it's going to stick around the corner, you notice it, and when you're confident and you feel like the car's going to stick, you just go and you hold on, and the car sticks, and you do well. And you can see that from race to race. When people have the setup right, they can be flying out in front, and they get it wrong in the next race and they're at the back. So setup plays a huge part in it, as well as confidence. We're a professional team?
No.
Oh, shit. Forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something about a professional team.
Whoa. Let's not throw that word around too much.
Rebound weight, so those
Rate, do the shots again. You said weight.
and compression and rebound weights.
Rates. Not weights. Okay, go again.
Hang on.
Oh, shit. Okay. Quiet on the set.
There you go. Who's he out there? Hey, who's he at?